The hum of the orbital station was nearly hypnotic, a symphony of airlocks cycling, distant engines thrumming, and the faint electronic heartbeat of the life support systems. Evan leaned against the cold metal railing, staring out at the cerulean swirl of the gas giant below. He had been stationed on orbital Delta 9 for just over a standard rotation, yet already the isolation gnawed at him. That's when he saw her. A small figure crouched near the docking bay's perimeter, shivering beneath the dim, flickering lights. She was clearly not human. Her eyes glimmered a soft lavender, iridescent like polished amethyst, and her skin reflected the station's artificial lighting with an almost metallic sheen. Yet despite her alien features, there was a fragility to her posture, a quiet plea for help that Evan could not ignore. Susan had been the first to notice the disturbance. "Evan, look!" she hissed, dragging him toward the figure. Unlike Evan, Susan had grown up among interstellar travelers, navigating the politics and perils of a dozen star systems. Her intuition was sharp, honed through years of experience that made her both a trusted ally and a formidable presence. The girl's voice, when she finally spoke, was barely audible, a melodic whisper that seemed to echo unnaturally. "Please, don't leave me." Evan's chest tightened. It was absurd. He had never claimed to be heroic, but something in the girl's gaze rooted him in place. Without thinking, he approached cautiously, extending a hand. "I'm Evan. You're safe here?" "For now." Susan knelt beside him, scanning the perimeter for any immediate threat. "We can't just take her in blindly," she said. Her tone was calm but commanding, the kind that made even seasoned officers pause. "We don't know who or what she is." The alien girl's expression flickered between fear and relief. I'm lost," she said. Her voice was melodious, but every syllable carried an undertone of terror. "They are coming." Evan and Susan exchanged a glance. There was no time for hesitation. Evan gestured toward the small galley compartment. "Let's get her inside. She's clearly starving and scared." The girl's form seemed to shrink as they guided her through the station's narrow corridors. Evan fetched a pack of nutrient gels from the supplies locker. She accepted them with delicate hands, eating with a desperate efficiency that belied her small frame. As she ate, Evan noticed subtle marks along her forearms, faint, almost ritualistic scars that shimmered faintly under the station lights. "What happened to her?" Evan whispered. "I don't know," Susan replied, her eyes scanning every shadow. "But these markings, they're not just decorative. They're a warning. Something or someone is after her." Hours passed, the alien girl slowly regaining her strength, her lavender eyes softening as she realized she was not alone. Evan found himself strangely protective, a sensation he had not felt since leaving Earth's orbit. He wondered how a being so delicate, so alien, could inspire such fierce empathy. Then the station's lights flickered violently. The hum of the engines grew uneven, and an ominous metallic thrum filled the corridors. Susan's hand instinctively rested on her sidearm. Evan froze, his heart hammering. "She's here," the girl whispered, her voice trembling. My mother—" Before Evan could respond, the air shimmered, distorting as if reality itself were bending. And then she appeared, tall, imposing, every movement precise and lethal. Her armor gleamed darkly, designed for both stealth and intimidation. Her eyes, however, were the same striking lavender as the girl they had sheltered, cold, calculating, and filled with lethal intent. "You found my child," she said, her voice a low, almost musical growl. "Do you know what that means?" Evan stepped forward instinctively, placing himself between the girl and the assassin. Susan mirrored him, her hand steady on her sidearm. "We don't want to fight," she said, Her voice was steel under velvet, commanding attention. The mother's gaze flicked between them, analyzing, calculating. "You fed her," she said slowly. "You interfered. That cannot go unpunished." The girl, trembling, reached for Evan's hand. "Please, she doesn't understand. She thinks I belong to her, but I don't." Evan's mind raced. He had always considered himself logical, methodical, but the situation defied logic. "Then what do we do?" he muttered under his breath, more to himself than anyone else. Susan's eyes met his, unwavering. "We survive," she said simply. And survival in this station meant exploiting every advantage the mother did not anticipate. The assassin lunged, her movements a blur. Evan barely had time to push the girl aside before Susan fired, a pulse shot that sang through the air and forced the attacker to halt mid-stride. But even restrained by energy pulses, the assassin exuded lethal grace, a predator who had spent a lifetime perfecting the art of death. "Stop!" Evan shouted, stepping forward. "You want her? You'll have to take her alive, and even then we won't let you control her." The mother paused, cocking her head. There was a long silence, charged with tension. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, her shoulders relaxed. She studied the girl, who met her gaze without fear for the first time. "Perhaps," the assassin said finally, "she has chosen differently." Evan and Susan exchanged wary glances. "And what about you?" Susan asked. "Will you leave her here?" The mother's expression softened, a rare vulnerability breaking through the mask of lethal precision. "For now," she replied, stepping back, vanishing into the shadows of the corridor with a fluid, almost inhuman grace. The girl exhaled shakily, burying her face against Evan's chest. "Thank you," she whispered. Evan rested a hand on her head, feeling a curious warmth despite the alien texture of her hair. Susan stood beside him, scanning the station, always vigilant. "Don't get too comfortable," she murmured. "She'll be back, and next time she won't hesitate." Evan looked down at the girl and then at Susan. The weight of the cosmos pressed on them, the fragility of life, the unrelenting march of danger. But for the first time in hours, a flicker of hope existed. They had survived. For now. And somewhere in the shadows of the orbital station, a mother reevaluated what it meant to protect, to control, and to ultimately let go.